Hi, this is CH. This video is part of a series of videos titled My ABCs or Absolutely Biased Comments to share how an individual investor like you and I can try to find out more about an investment fund from public sources and do some basic research or simple due diligence before deciding to buy the fund or walk away. Do explore the other funds covered in this series and subscribe to the channel if you find this video useful. Some quick disclaimers before we start. This is not a product sales pitch or a recommendation to buy. I am not sponsored by anyone to do this video. Please do your own research and be clear about the product features and risks before taking any action. The information shown and mentioned in this video is accurate as of the date stated here. In this video, I will be talking about the United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund from UOBAM. UOB stands for United Overseas Bank and is one of the three major local banks in Singapore after DBS and OCBC, and is well recognized by its logo as well as a unique seal mark it uses. UOB was first founded in 1935 as United Chinese Bank or UCB by a group of businessmen led by Wee King Chiang and renamed to United Overseas Bank in 1965. The Wee family maintained management leadership in the company through the years. Wee King Chiang's son, Wee Choi Yao, was the chairman from 1974 to 2007 and was well recognized for its instrumental works to bring the company through economic uncertainties and to new heights. Wee Choi Yao's son, Wee Ee Chong, succeeded him as the deputy chairman and CEO of the firm till date. UOB today is headquartered in the two iconic towers along the Singapore River and operates globally with more than 470 branches and offices in 19 markets in Asia Pacific, Europe, and North America. The firm manages over 537 billion of assets as of end 2024. UOB Asset Management or UOBAM, as the name implies, is the asset management business of UOB. It was established in 1986, focusing on Singapore and Asia business. Core product offerings are Asian fixed income and Asian equity solutions. Though, as seen in this chart, they also have expanded their offerings over the years in other exposures and asset classes, either via their own products or through partnerships with other fund providers. UOBAM manages over 37 billion of assets as of Q1 2025. The United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund is a sub-fund under the United Liquidity Solutions Portfolios Fund family. United Liquidity Solutions Portfolios is set up as a Singapore umbrella unit trust, although it currently only has one sub-fund within the family. The fund is registered as a MAS authorized scheme, which means it is suitable for retail investors. The United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund has both a share class specific details page and a fund highlight page. The share class page is rather useless, except that it shows the latest NAV and performance numbers. The fund highlight page is much more useful with summary information and key marketing points of the fund. For example, the fund manager information is only available in the fund highlight page, where it states the fund is managed by Joyce Tan, who is the head of Fixed Income Asia and Singapore. There is no further information on Joyce in the fund web pages or documents. Morningstar shows that Joyce is listed as the only fund manager since August 2019. The fund was incepted in 2018 though, but there is no information on who had managed the fund prior to Joyce. It would be good if UOBAM can disclose more information on the people involved in the managing and running of the fund. The United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund is a pretty straightforward product, so the investment objective and details are quite minimal in the prospectus. The investment objective of the fund is to provide a return comparable to Sing Dollar short-term deposits. This is expressed using 3-month compounded Singapore overnight rate average or SORA, which is the target for the fund to outperform. 3-month SORA is commonly used as a reference rate in Singapore, especially for loans, so it is generally quite easy to find the current rates from public sources. Here is a year-to-date table from DBS Mortgage Loans website, where we can see 3-month SORA has moved down significantly from over 3% in January to 1.45% in October. This directly impacts the Sing Dollar fixed deposit rates and Sing Dollar bond yields, so it would be expected for Sing dollar money market funds to also have their returns revised accordingly. The fund is expected to invest primarily in Sing dollar denominated bonds, money market instruments, and deposits. It is possible to invest in other currency exposures, but they will all be hedged back to Sing dollar to avoid FX risk. For bonds, the fund will invest in so-called high-quality credit ratings with either a long-term rating of single A or better, or equivalent short-term ratings. Generally, money market funds would stick mainly to government and quasi-government bonds to minimize corporate credit risk. There is some information on the investment process which is good. The fund uses a blend of top-down macro view with bottom-up security research. Top-down portion includes macroeconomic and market analysis that would determine duration management, currency overlay, and country and sector allocation. Bottom-up portion includes analysis on relative valuation, credit quality, and security structure. This should be a similar process used by the more popular United Sing Dollar Fund, which is managed by the same fund manager and investment team. There should technically be a restriction on the maturity of the underlying positions, given this is a money market fund, but it is not mentioned in the prospectus. The fund highlight page provides this information by stating the portfolio has an average maturity of not more than 6 months. The United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund was incepted in 2018 and has only about 640 million Sing dollars of AUM, making it a younger and much smaller fund compared to other established products in this category, such as Fullerton, Lion Global, and Phillip. The fund portfolio is pretty straightforward. Given the fund size is still relatively small, it currently is almost fully invested in Singapore short-term government bonds or bills. There is a small 1% allocation to Qatar financials that might be fixed deposits, and 1% to South Korea consumer discretionary that might be a small tactical credit play. Effective duration is at very low 0.14 years, which translates to around 1.7 months, which is in line with most money market funds that will keep maturity and duration exposure to 3 months or less. Average credit rating is at the highest AAA, simply because that is the Singapore sovereign rating. Average yield to maturity or YTM is at 1.54%, which is not too far from the current 3-month SORA rate. That's all there is with the fund portfolio. Again, this is a much smaller fund compared to other established products in the market, so the portfolio is a lot simpler. Bigger Sing dollar money market funds will have more non-Singapore exposures because these funds will eventually need to diversify out of Singapore government bonds and go for more Sing dollar fixed deposits with foreign banks and tactically invest into Sing dollar corporate bonds with very short maturity left. The United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund doesn't have a lot of share classes, but the definitions are a bit confusing. The most common retail share class should be A1 Sing dollars, which was incepted in 2019. It has a 0.25% management fee, with TER or total expense ratio being 0.43% after adding other expenses. There is also a D Sing dollar class created in 2023 that appears to have the same fee terms as the A1 class, so I am not sure why there is a need to create this share class. The institutional share class is B Sing dollar class, incepted in 2018. It has a lower 0.15% management fee, and therefore the TER is also lower at 0.33%. This shouldn't be available to most retail investors as it normally has a minimum of 1 million Sing dollars investment, unless you happen to find a distributor that allows you to access to it without the minimum requirement. It is mentioned in the PHS that up to 80% of the management fee can be paid by UOBAM to distributors as trailer fees, although I think that's probably within the UOB ecosystem, as there is not much management fees to begin with for this fund. While only the D class is clearly defined as accumulation class, none of the share classes have any distribution payouts, so they are really all effectively accumulation classes. The fund has a 0% subscription fee, which is consistent with most other money market funds. Do take note of this, as no distributors or bankers should charge any subscription fees for this fund. When looking at money market funds, we need to consider the liquidity of the fund as a key consideration, because most investors use them as a temporary cash parking facility, and that means putting money in and getting money out of the facility should be fast and easy. To talk about fund liquidity, we need to understand the fund order process, which comes in three phases. The first phase is order placement, which is the day that you place the subscription or redemption order. There is normally a cutoff time for the day, which means if you miss the cutoff time, your order will be moved to the next day instead. The second phase is order processing, which is also known as dealing day or transaction day. This is the day where the fund administrator picks up all the orders that didn't miss the cutoff time and process them accordingly. The third phase is order settlement, which is the day to resolve the money flows. For subscriptions, this is the day that your money gets debited and transferred to the fund. For redemptions, this is the day that the fund credits the proceeds back to you. Most funds today have the same settlement day for both subscriptions and redemptions. In fund industry jargon, we would normally refer the transaction day as T. Most mutual funds accept order placements to be done either on the same day or T, or 1 day earlier or T-1. Most mutual funds also settle 3 days later, or T plus 3. So following this logic, if you place a redemption order for a mutual fund on Monday before the cutoff time, your order would get processed on Tuesday, and proceeds will get credited out of the fund on Friday. Given the orders are usually done through a distributor, it takes time for the distributor to process and update the information as well, so you would normally see your account updated 1 to 2 days after settlement day. When it comes to money market funds, investors ideally want this whole process to be shorter so that the cash flow management can be more liquid and faster. This means the order placement should ideally be on the same day as transaction day, and that the settlement day should be less than 3 days, with just a 1 day lag or T plus 1 being the most optimal. So let's find out the liquidity terms for the United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund. The fund prospectus states that the dealing deadline is 3 p.m. Singapore time on any dealing day. So this is the cutoff time as well as indicating same-day processing for the orders. The settlement day is however not specified, and the prospectus only provides a generic guideline of not more than 7 business days, which is not useful at all. As the fund doesn't seem to provide the information, we will need to check at distributor's end. FSM1, or more popularly known as Fund Supermart, provides a clear date stamp for the order process flows. Here, we can see clearly that the United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund in Fund Supermart has a same day or T order placement, and the settlement is 3 days later for the fund, plus 1 more day for the distributor to complete the processing. So for a redemption order, an investor will only get back the proceeds 4 business days later, which is the same as most mutual funds. However, other leading Sing Dollar money market funds from Fullerton, Lion Global, and Phillip all have shorter T plus 1 settlement day, meaning investors can get their money back 2 days faster. This is again crucial, as money market funds are normally used as temporary cash parking facilities, and investors want to be able to put money in and get money out as fast as possible. In this aspect, this is definitely a minus point for United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund. The United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund details page has an NAV chart that appears to be the only useful thing in the webpage, as it gives NAV up to the most recent day. There is a performance table, but the benchmark data is missing, so that's quite useless. UOBAM unfortunately has one of the poorer managed websites, and there are a lot of areas for them to improve on. Let's look at the fund fact sheet next. The fact sheet does have a performance chart versus the benchmark, but it uses the Z share class that has 0 management fees that investors cannot buy, so the chart is not really an accurate reflection. Additionally, there is a big performance difference between the fund and the benchmark in the first 2 years that help in the since inception performance but not beyond that. Looking at the performance table, we can see that the A1 share class, which is the correct share class to look at, has been underperforming the benchmark by a small 0.1% to 0.2% per annum. Let's run some comparisons with the more established funds in the market. Comparing against the three bigger players from Fullerton, Lion Global, and Phillip, we can see that there are some notable performance differences even for money market funds with low expected returns. With this since inception chart of the United Sing Dollar Money Market A1 class, we can see that Fullerton and Lion Global have had clearly better performances, while Phillip is the weakest in returns. The same remains even when we look at just the 1-year chart. So purely on performance basis, United has been consistently weaker than Lion Global and Fullerton. One reason for the performance differences is the amount of fees embedded within the funds. Lion Global and Fullerton have relatively lower total expense ratio or TER that has helped to buff up the returns a bit. But the rest of the differences would be purely the result of the performance outcome of the portfolios of each fund. So Lion Global and Fullerton has additionally better performing portfolios than the other two. Looking at the performance chart, another concern is that the United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund had a small but noticeable correction in March 2022. While it was just a minus 0.19% drop, this is not acceptable as money market funds are not meant to produce such extended NAV declines. As seen, the other three funds had not exhibited such behavior. I couldn't find the explanation for this, though some possible reasons might be that there was a significant redemption that impacted the portfolio holdings, or that the fund had higher duration exposures back then and was affected by interest rate movements. This has not occurred again, and it's important that the fund ensures this will not reoccur. With that, let's summarize our findings. UOBAM is the asset management arm of UOB, which is one of the three local banks in Singapore that comes with a long heritage, so it is a household brand for retail investors. One thing I don't like about UOBAM website is that fund information are scattered across share class details page and highlights page. It would be good if all the relevant information can be placed in a single location for each fund, so that investors can access them easily. Another thing I don't like about UOBAM is that they provide nearly no information on the fund managers and investment teams. It would be useful for investors to understand and appreciate the people and resources behind the products. The investment objective and strategy of the fund are clearly defined. This is a straightforward Sing Dollar money market solution that is benchmarked against 3-month SORA. The fund was incepted only in 2018, making it a younger product than established peers in the category. Consequently, it also has a much smaller AUM compared to those peers. Total expense ratio of the fund is relatively high compared to products from Fullerton and Lion Global. This partly leads to a weaker performance, though the portfolio construct differences may also be a detractor. The fund also loses points in terms of order liquidity, as it has a T+3 settlement time, which is the same as normal mutual funds, whereas most other money market funds have a shorter T+1 settlement time. In conclusion, there are multiple key concerns in the fund that needs to be addressed and improved before it can be comparable to the established peers. At the moment, there are other better Sing Dollar money market solutions available for investors. This concludes my absolutely biased comments on the United Sing Dollar Money Market Fund from UOBAM. Again, if you find this video useful and would like to see more related contents, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a great day.